All right, man, peace. So for those of you brothers who come on my channel consistently and watch my basketball videos, you'll know that oftentimes one of my favorite reference points for backdrops when I do my basketball videos is Mr. Scottie Pippen and many of his hot takes, particularly pertaining to Mr. James Harden. For whatever reason, Scottie cannot stand James Harden, and I understand it because James plays in a very ugly style. He plays in a style that if he tried to do that back in the 1990s, he would have gotten ran out of the league because the players would have just double teamed him and made him look bad. But now in this era of free movement and allowing one-on-one and dribble and having 4 other three-point shooters around you to spread the floor and to try to stop other teams from double teaming you, he can do that. But now I'm starting to wonder, like, what's really going on here? Scottie seemed to have something personal against James. And of course, he's teamed up on this episode with another truth teller / old head hater, Steven Jackson. So of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Let's talk about James Harden, because in Minnesota last night, the streak continued. He scored 42 points, put himself in very rare company. He's now scored at least 30 in 31 consecutive games. That ties Wilt Chamberlain for the second longest streak in NBA history. Take a look here at what Harden has done during this scoring run. I mean, the numbers are crazy. All of them.
Look at that shit. 17,000. Over 17,000 dribbles this nigga done had. Wow. Almost 1,300 points and almost 18,000 dribbles.
The step-back threes are insane. The dribbles are insane, right? What do you think, Steven? Because we've gotten Scottie's opinion on this, but I want to hear where you think this puts him in the MVP race.
It puts him exactly where he's at. I have him at 3rd. That's where I have him. And to be honest with you, I think that Jokic is right there on his ass. But is he right there with Antetokounmpo and Paul George? Absolutely not. Because Antetokounmpo and Paul George are actually dominating the game on the defensive end as well.
I mean, it's attractive.
Steve said it's attractive, it's cute. What the nigga doing is cute.
You know, you seeing him put up all these numbers, seeing him score, you know, this streak, it's attractive. But, you know, I love him as a player, but it doesn't look like he's focused on winning.
What he doing is attractive, it's cute. But so is my ex-girlfriend. I wouldn't give her the MVP. Matter of fact, if you're out there listening, fuck you.
And it doesn't look like the team is focused on winning. Yeah, he's putting up all these great numbers, but when they take all that stuff away in the playoffs and you lose in the first round, it's all for nothing.
Well, Steve, come on, you're being a little bit unfair. The brother's not going to lose in the first round. He's probably going to go out either in the second round or the third round. And then again, you never know, because they picked up Kenneth Faried. And I believe that that's going to prove to be a major pickup for them. They're going to be a threat to come out the West. I wouldn't pick them. I would not favor them to come out of the West over the Warriors, but they're going to be a problem.
So I feel if he can do that and they can start making pace to being one of the top teams in the West and looking like a championship contending team.
James Harden be out there at the three-point line playing 3-card Monty with these dudes. Yeah, pick a card, any card. Whap, 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 whap. All in between the legs and shit.
Team, yeah, it looks good, but now it just looks like, you know, he's just out there having fun playing and wanting to put up his numbers.
That's all he's doing.
And not really concerned about the team, you know, makes do good in the playoffs or not.
No, he's had the excuse over the course of the last 20 plus games, going into the last 30 games, that Chris Paul was out. That was his excuse to have the greenest light of all time. Now that Chris Paul's back, he can't do that anymore. But I was out on the James Harden 30-point streak when they had that game against the Denver Nuggets. They were down by 20 plus points, and this dude came back in the game with like 2.5 minutes left. That's when you could see that he was full of shit.
I totally don't agree with the type of basketball that he plays.
Yo, Scottie be going in. I totally don't agree with how he plays basketball, and to be honest with you, the nigga looks like Future. I can't stand you, James Harden. I went home and I saw a pair of men's boxer briefs that had a Houston Rockets insignia on it, number 13. And I knew that it was you all up in my wife. So I just want you to know you're not my MVP.
I mean, I've always felt like the regular season was about building chemistry and trying to prepare and get your team ready for the playoffs. And I don't think this type of basketball that we're watching is playoff basketball. It's not even attractive basketball to me because
I agree with all that. Every last thing that Scottie says, I agree. It's just so funny to me when he talks about James Harden.
Because I hear people talking about he's MVP race, he's doing this, but it's not fun to watch a guy dribble the ball for 20 seconds and he still takes a shot, or he makes an assist to a guy that takes the shot.
He said James Harden dribbled the ball for 20 seconds. He gives some teammate about 2 seconds to shoot.
It's just not good basketball.
What do you think, Coach?
Supposedly it's a team game.
Well, I think
right?
Scottie says supposedly it's a team game. To be honest with you, Rachel, James Harden set the game back 5,000 years. James Harden got niggas out there standing around like they being coached by James Naismith. I mean, really, it's the ugliest brand of basketball I've ever seen. I thought it was a team game.
you can't overlook the fact that Chris was out early in the season.
Right.
And what he's done is he's put his team in position to win. But it's probably not championship basketball.
Not at all, but not that you would know because you've never been the coach of a championship team. So the best thing that Minnesota did was get your ass out of there. But just to get back to the point, no, they're not playing championship basketball. They're playing keep your head above water basketball, or at least they were before Chris Paul came back. The point being is that James Harden did a great job keeping his team's head above water. So he definitely deserves MVP consideration. Does he deserve to win it? No.
You look at the way Giannis has impacted winning in Milwaukee, Paul George with OKC, and of course Steph and Kevin Durant with Golden State. But I'd say the biggest concern would have to be the drop that Houston has had defensively this year.
Right.
And that's probably impacted them more than anything else. So for them to get back into that championship conversation, I think the defense has to improve. And there's still 25 games to go. So we want to see how the MVPs impact their team throughout the course of the season.
And that's MVP candidates. Paul George, that's what I'm leading for, Paul George.
I have him number 2 behind Antetokounmpo.
Losing Trevor Ariza in Houston, that's another reason why they're not a good defensive team. But the guys that's playing well, that teams are at the top of their conferences, that's the guys that say MVP candidates.
I agree.
You put Paul George over Giannis?
I put them right neck and neck.
Neck and neck, right?
Yeah, James is not a final.
That's right. Well, that's what's fun about it, right? It's not decided by now. Absolutely. Coach, do you agree with these guys? And Kobe Bryant said it on our show last week as well, that the way James Harden is playing right now would be easy enough to defend in a playoff scenario. And by the way, James agreed with him when someone repeated Kobe's comments. He said, yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, you're a defensive mastermind. You would know how to play.
I have to give James the benefit of the doubt, though. This is a player who's been to multiple Western Conference finals. This is not some guy who goes to the playoffs and gets knocked out in the first round. So that's what I mean when I say, even though I give him a hard time, sometimes the pundits, they come down a little bit too hard on him. But I know why. It's because his style of play is very unattractive. And then on top of that, he does not play with integrity. He's always flopping around. He's always initiating contact and then falling backwards. He's constantly traveling. And I mean, his travels are not even like a third step. It's like this dude is taking 2 and 3 extra steps, and the refs are not calling it. All of that combined together is why James Harden is not viewed with the level of respect that would be befitting a player who not only has won an MVP award already, but has finished in the top 2 or 3, probably 3 or 4 other times.
We had an opportunity to play against them last year in the playoffs. Chris is a big factor in all of that. I think when Chris does play, it gives him 2 guys that can break the defense down off the dribble. And you can't lose sight of the fact that Capella's also been out for them.
Right.
And he puts enormous pressure on the rim, and he's also the anchor of their defense. So what James is doing right now is he's putting them in position to win. So it's a challenge. When you have Capella out and Chris missing all those games, they're just scratching out wins, and hopefully now they can make their run.
Excellent. Well, Coach, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. I just thought that this video was very funny because, once again, Scottie Pippen, when it comes to James Harden, he ain't playing. I have to find out what James Harden did to Scottie Pippen. But anyway, peace.